Welcome back, people. We are now at part 5 of this week's New Comics, bitches! It's a roll your own. It's not a joint. I'm not getting high while talking to you, okay? I don't get high. Yeah, you can judge that for yourself. I don't care. Actually, I don't. But seriously, folks, book of the week. Sorry, books of the week. Detective Comics, number 879, which is not currently in my possession, because I lent it to a friend, because I needed to show him how fucking awesome Scott Snyder is at writing Batman, and I needed to show him how fucking awesome Francesco Francavilla is at drawing Batman. Or at least this title, anyway. Because we don't see, with Francesco, we don't see a whole lot of Batman. Basically, what we've been seeing in this particular storyline that Snyder's been doing with James Jr. and Papa Gordon and Dick Grayson mixed in here and there, is a much more personal and a much more kind of noirish, dark tale, more realistic tale than what we're kind of used to seeing in a lot of the other Batman comics. Because as we saw in the last issue of Detective, James Jr. is definitely not cured. He is really, 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 really psychotic. And I was actually discussing the differences between being a psychopath and being a sociopath. Being a sociopath basically is, you know, it's almost kind of, you know, I'm not really sure, again, and, you know, it's just something I can Wikipedia, but, you know, or just Google it, but, you know, because I could never tell which is supposed to be which. You know, a sociopath is supposed to be somebody without any human feeling at all, whereas a psychopath is someone who has human feeling, but chooses not to, you know, they can get angry, they can get frustrated, whatever, but they're just so deranged that, you know, they just can't help it. They can't stop themselves. So we've got him, we open up, he's actually volunteering at Leslie Tompkins' free clinic and getting a whole bunch of stuff done over there. Meanwhile, Dad is looking in on him. Still, you know, he wants to hope. He's hoping against hope that his son is doing better. But he actually goes there and he sneaks off the meds that he's supposed to be taking. The meds that he is taking. It's diaxamine or something like that. It's not a real drug. He goes, so basically, you know, Dad goes to his little girl, goes to Barbara and her wealth of knowledge to examine this pill that he's taking. He doesn't want her to break the law, you know, because he knows that she can hack, you know, and he mentions, you know, he kind of knows that she can hack into the pharmaceutical company's database, but, you know, he just wants her to analyze this pill, and he doesn't want to take it to, you know, Dick Grayson and the crime lab that, you know, basically Batman Incorporated set up for for the police force to use if they need to, because obviously very high-tech stuff there. He wants to keep it within the family. He wants kind of Dick Grayson taken out of the loop. And in the midst of this work, the Joker has been captured again and is being taken back to Arkham. And, of course, what the Joker is narrating throughout the book is also, of course, contextualizing what's happening with James Jr. And the Joker, let's just say, doesn't stay in Arkham very long. He's done something to himself again, whatever it is, but it's utterly fucking terrifying. We don't see the Joker in full guise or anything like that, but we do see that, you know, you definitely know that it is the Joker, not just because they call him by name, but because of what he does in this issue to escape from Arkham. Wow. And what they do discover about the drug, also equally wow. And what James Jr.'s potential plans are for it. It's wow. I mean, again, blown away by Snyder's work on this. I mean, especially the work that he's done with Francavilla as the artist. It's really grounding the series. It's really giving some great character stuff. It's making something real, something that's tangible, something that I can believe, for the most part, that can happen in reality. And, you know, obviously it's a comic book. You can't just, you know, it's a Batman comic book, so it can't just be totally real. But, you know, the fact that Snyder is willing to take it down to, you know, here we're going to show the nitty-gritty. And that's what he does. It's just, Frankly, art, it's just so stunning. You know, bless him for what he's doing. So, I mean, that's, you know, my one pick of the week. My second pick of the week, X-Men Schism, Book 1. Now, those of you who know me, and those of you who have been watching, know that I've not really had a really great love of the X-Men in the recent last couple of years. Obviously, when Whedon and Cassaday were doing their run on Astonishing X-Men, that was when I was... I couldn't believe that I was putting, you know... I used to write for... I used to do reviews for a website called popsyndicate.com. You might actually still find some of my reviews there if the website... I haven't been to the website in a really long time, and I probably should. But I used to do books of the week there, and reviews. A lot of the same stuff that I'm doing right now, just not, you know, I used to actually write it. But, you know, it was just weird for me to have the X-Men be, you know, some of my favorite works of those months that they would come out. And we seem to be entering into, kind of re-entering a golden age, well, not a golden age, but a great new age for the X-Men with, you know, like, for example, Chris Yost and the amazing work that he's doing on just the X-Men title. I don't read Uncanny X-Force. I don't read the other X titles. I know some of you have recommended that I do. Some of you have recommended that I read X-Factor. So that's, you know, neither here nor there. And someday I probably will. But getting back to Schism. So Jason Aaron writing this book, Carlos Pacheco doing the art on this issue. Apparently it's going to rotate artists, which actually I think will help the book come out on a more consistent, regular basis. But this is, you know, this is supposed to be the big X-Men event, basically that drives a wedge between it, because there will be a Wolverine and the X-Men title that will shoot off of this, and then there will be a new Uncanny X-Men that will start, also that all being birthed out of this event. And basically we've got, we've got Cyclops and we got Wolverine. They are at an arms conference. The reason that they're there is to basically convince the world to stop the creation, construction, and deployment of Sentinels. Because these guys, if anybody, they know exactly what the hell these things do, that they've killed millions upon millions. You know, Genosha, gone. You know, and they know from kind of the future what could happen. So, and there's, of course, the and this is in front of the, some of the world's leaders. There's this very kind of Ahmadinejad kind of character that's represented in this comic. Seems to be, very kind of, I don't, you're coming here with a lot of accusations and no proof. But that gets pretty quickly interrupted when Quentin Quire, who you may remember from Grant Morrison's run on X-Men, and also the Phoenix Endsong series, that he's an Omega level telepath. He's as strong as anybody else out there, and he comes into this meeting and he basically puts the whammy on all of these world leaders. They start admitting all of these horrible things to the world, but basically he's establishing himself as the kind of new savior of the mutant race. And in the midst of all this, of course, once all hell breaks loose in the arms conference, they deploy a bunch of Sentinels, and and Cyclops and Wolverine have to fight them off. And then, but we've also got this this side story about this rather young man. Well, first of all, this the owner of an arms manufacturing company, is Carlton Kilgore, who stands to profit off of this because people are going to be more afraid of mutants now than they ever were before. And his son Cade, his little 12-year-old son, who, well, he has some not so good plans for his dad and for the world, even though he's just a kid. And of course this leads to the massive deployment from, in just about every country except the United States, of Sentinels, big Sentinels. And this is, of course, brewing to a fever pitch all around the world. But what was so great to me about this comic is that it shows Cyclops, again, being a leader, being a great leader. And it shows Wolverine as kind of his it's a weird kind of relationship they have. It's antagonistic, but at the same time, it's respectful of each other. They do like each other, despite themselves. And they have this kind of it's kind of brotherly in the way that they relate to one another. Like I said, it's adversarial, but it's changed, and this comic takes the time to show how it's evolved and changed. And it also shows these great little character moments throughout the comic with Wolverine. His walk-on is just awesome at the beginning of the issue. And it's great stuff. Pacheco's art is incredible. Jason Aaron obviously putting a lot of thought into this. It's just really interesting to see where it's going to go from here. I can't wait for issue 2. So those are my books of the week. We're done. This is the Shadow Gallery. Like it, dislike it, comment, criticize, subscribe if you like it. So that's the Shadow Gallery. This is James Donnelly signing off. We'll see you next time.